Slurpdy-derp, my G's. The time of recording here is about 8:30 a.m. local time here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I've got a wonderful view in front of me of the skyline. I can see the Petronas Towers. It's really cool. It's given me a lot of ideas and inspiration. And I was thinking last night about a cool idea for a YouTube video, which is just to kind of discuss with you guys or open up the topic for discussion on the future of mastering and the future of AI mastering. Because I was thinking as I was listening to a podcast last night about AI, and there was a part where the podcast was talking about this thing called character AI. And apparently it's like where there's already kids like who are like 15, 16 years old that are just making friends with different AI models who have different personality and character traits. For example, there's like the high school jock or something who's just, like some big hench, like sort of a bit like, putting people down a bit, like this kind of character of AI that you can talk to and try and become friends with. And it's really crazy. And it got me on to thinking about how it would work in the future with mastering AI and how many years I have left of being a professional mastering engineer and getting paid for it, because I don't think it will last forever. I reckon that I've probably got 4 years left, or maybe if I'm lucky 6 years to still get paid for my job as a mastering engineer. Now, I'm not so worried or so concerned, because I think the most important thing that you can be as a human is to be adaptable, and there's always a new opportunity to get paid to do what you love or something like that. There's always different ways that you can do things. But currently I do quite a lot of mastering work, and I'm really grateful for that. I love doing it because I love helping people achieve like a higher quality sound for their music. But I don't personally think. Well, I'm really confident that my skills in mastering are still better than what an AI can do, because there's so much nuance involved, especially with mastering like a specific subgenre. There's like, you're trying to go for different character profiles when you're mastering a track, and you're prioritizing certain frequencies, for example, over others. And it's I don't think an AI can quite do that yet, or can hear the nuances, or the quality is not really as detailed as a human professional mastering engineer yet. But I reckon it will be at some point, and I would guess probably in like 4 years or maybe 6 years, because the level of nuance is really, really important in mastering, obviously, and I don't think an AI can quite replicate that yet. But I was wondering how it'd work in the future, and perhaps I was thinking similar to this character AI, you might have like an AI mastering house with different mastering engineers that you can talk to and get feedback, give feedback to on the master, and there might be sort of different engineers that have different algorithms that are more tailored to specific styles of music, and it might have like learned this from human mastering engineers. So it might be. I was wondering, maybe it will be able to detect like, oh, here's this like let's say me. Here's Artifact. He's a drum and bass mastering engineer. Let's listen to all of his masters. Okay, you can kind of see that he's sort of prioritizing always the low mid frequencies, and he's trying to give a bit of extra power to the bass, but also he's trying to balance that with getting a bit of extra punch on the fundamental of the kick and the fundamental of the snare. He's doing it in this kind of ratio. He's giving sort of 60% of his attention and EQ boosting to the kick and the snare, and he's giving 40% to the low mid range of the bass, and he's focusing in on that. He's not letting the highs go beyond this limit. He's leaving the sub at around this level, and it could do all these like complex analytics and see like, how does Artifact prioritize different elements in the frequency spectrum. and how does he do that for each particular track? So let's analyze this track. Let's break this track down. Here's where the mid bass is sitting. Here's where the vocal is sitting. Now, what would Artifact do? Maybe he'd boost the lower part of the fundamental of the vocal there, and then he'd give a little bit of push to that, but he won't do it so much on this lead synth, which is higher up. He's leaving that kind of unboosted still, because he's preferring the other parts to prioritize more. So it's all like the different frequencies that you prioritize for each particular song will change, and the mastering model would have to learn, the AI model would have to learn, like, what would this mastering engineer do in this situation with this sound? Why would he prioritize this one over another one? And you see how like nuanced it would get, because like we're creating a character for the song ourselves from our experience of what we think needs to be prioritized and what we think needs to sound good. So that's why like a generic AI mastering thing, it's not going to be as good. And so those generic AI mastering tools are not as good yet, because they don't go into that enough nuance yet. But I think that they would at some point. So yeah, scary. No, it's not really. It's quite fun. It's quite fun to think about how that would work. But I reckon I've got 4 years left or 6 years left of still being able to do that as a profession, because like I said, I don't think the AI mastering quality is high enough yet to match like a professional human mastering engineer yet, but it probably will be at some point. But yeah, it'd be quite fun to see how that would work. You know, like you'd have this like virtual office of different mastering engineers you could talk to, get them to do it, and then get feedback, and then say, oh no, I don't like the way you did that. Could you prioritize here a bit more? Yeah, so I'm thinking that that'll happen at some point in the future. But what do you guys think? Is that a scary thought for other mastering engineers, or is it quite exciting for newcomer producers who can more easily get their songs mastered then? But yeah, I just thought about this because, you know, I'm quite fortunate that I'm still able to do a lot of mastering work now. But I know that yeah, all good things come to an end eventually. But that's fine. But yeah, so what else did I want to talk about in this video? I thought I had another. I should really make notes before I record a video, shouldn't I? Yeah, the AI mastering, the training models, how that would kind of work, would be very, very interesting. Oh yeah, so a little mastering tip I wanted to give you as well. Yeah, I do mastering training where I teach producers how to master their own tracks, like in the style that I've developed. And I was just also thinking about another reason how or why I, as a mastering engineer, can still do a better job than the AI is. It's just like one extra little mastering tip. There can be a point in my mastering chain where one plugin is then too much. You know, it's too much processing, because for my technique of mastering, it's about preserving the dynamics, getting the best volume possible, and boosting in the areas of where there is still space to boost, and just getting right up to that limit of, you know, saturating and squeezing out enough volume in the mix while retaining the original fresh dynamic and not squashing it too much. I've actually worked with other licensing companies and publishing companies who have professional mastering engineers that probably on really high salaries and that are doing like multiple mastering jobs for like commercial music. And I'm not going to name anyone, but I've heard back when they've mastered my own track, and I've been like, you've squashed that. You've squashed the dynamics on that. And so I hate when people squash the dynamics on a master and limit things too much to like squeeze out extra volume. Like I always prefer to get right up to that edge where like the dynamics are still the most important thing, even if like the volume or the LUFS are like slightly lower, but it's not been squashed at all. Because like if it's squashed, it's just not going to sound as good. So I always go for maximum clarity, depth, and volume, but I make sure that the original dynamics are not affected at all, or like not noticeably affected. And yeah, loads of times I've worked with other mastering engineers, they've like really changed the dynamics of the track in you know, in the concept of trying to get the most volume out of it. But I hate that. I really hate it, because like at the end of the day, it's already going to be so loud. You can simply just, you know, turn it up on your sound system like more if you want, but like having those original dynamics where the sub and the kick are like just kind of perfect and they're not squashed into each other is so much nicer, in my opinion. But yeah, I've like worked with other professionals that have just, I've been like, how are you a professional when you're doing that, when you're squashing a track that much? I don't understand. But yeah, that's my preference for mastering. My preference is like retain dynamics at all costs, and then how much can I get out of it, with that being my my sort of ceiling. You know, not disrupting the original dynamics, so everything's really, really clean and punchy still, you know. So I really like to do that kind of style of mastering. But yeah, like so that, you know, when I've got my mastering chain on, I'll get to the point where that one extra plugin I put on tipped it over the edge and then started to squash the dynamics. So it can be that sometimes it will only be like a few plugins or a few adjustments, and then, you know, it depends how good the mix is. You know, some, like on my own tracks, like my mix downs are really good, so I tend to only have sometimes only like maybe four or five like tweaks like in my mastering chain, whereas on other producers' tracks that are more like beginner and their mix down's just not loud enough, I might go up to like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 kind of processing like ideas, you know. But like, yeah, you can go too far every time. So I will always get to that point where, okay, I can't put another plugin on here because that now I've like reached the maximum and it's going to start to disturb the dynamics. So it's all about, yeah, going to the edge and then like coming back, finding where that last point is, and so not overdoing it then. And yeah, so I'm basically getting the most out of the mixdown what I can by prioritizing things for a particular character profile that I think is appropriate for the music, by isolating the different elements that need the most attention and giving those the most space in the spectrum, and doing all of this with the concept of in mind of having like a limit, like not a limiter, but a ceiling, an imaginary ceiling in terms of not disturbing the dynamics, but getting the most volume as well. And yeah, for that kind of nuance, there's no way that an AI can replicate that. Like I mean, maybe it can like scan this YouTube video and then try and create an algorithm about this video and then try and do it, but it's not going to be able to do it yet. It's not going to be that good yet. But I reckon maybe in 6 years it will catch up. So eventually we'll. But I think I've got a good few years left of doing this as a job. So anyway, thank you for everyone who's ever booked me for your mastering services. But yeah, hopefully that is a little fun video today, just opening some discussion about AI mastering and giving one or two kind of tips on how I work and how I approach it. But yeah, it's great. I'm a massive audiophile, you know, I love it. This is what I live for. I mean, I got this thing recently. This is like a FIO headphone amplifier, which is excellent. It's not that expensive, and it really boosted the sound quality on my Odyssey headphones like a lot. Like I use these ones, the Odyssey LCD 2C, my favorite headphones in the world. I don't think I would probably, if I didn't have them, I'd probably be crying. I probably wouldn't know what to do. Like I'm a very minimalist person. I don't try to get attached to any possessions. But if I didn't have these, I'd probably just be like a lost puppy. Yeah, I wouldn't really know what to do with myself. And I've been going to different headphone stores the last few days trying to get a new cable because it actually makes such a difference. Like, this is the original cable it comes with, but I've been trying out these cryo copper cables and they make such a difference to the sound quality. Like, it's ridiculous. It's an expensive cable, but it just makes such a difference. And yeah, so this made a big difference, and then the cable as well makes a big difference, and all of these little details just to like get the most cleanest sound that I can possibly get. I mean, yeah, like an AI ain't gonna do that, baby. AIs aren't going out to record stores or to headphone shops looking for copper cables yet, are they? No, but obviously, yeah, at some point it'll catch up and it'll be able to get that nuance, because obviously as we go into the future, the IQ of the AI is going to get even higher. So it will eventually catch up and be able to like pick up on those nuances that we as professional mastering engineers know about. But I don't think it's going to be able to do a good job of that for a few years. So I'm good for it for the moment. But anyway, interesting conversation, I think. Love to hear you guys' thoughts. And yeah, leave some comments down below. Leave some questions as well. And if you've got any other specific questions that I can go over in mixing and mastering, let me know and I'll try and make a video. And yeah, aside from that, my G's, I hope you have a great start to your week. More from me very soon. Make sure you like and subscribe as well if you're new. And check out the links down below to my one-on-one lessons, my preset packs, my Discord community as well. And much love, my G's. Take care. Ciao, ciao.